Just for the record, this lap took me about 8 hours of scoring my new personal best in footage that looks like this. Seeing this sign more times than the amount of rayib in my fridge right now. And listening to all Sabrina Carpenter's songs in this playlist that is apparently about 5 hours long. The song has been omitted due to copyright restrictions. So please just show me some support by subscribing, liking the video, and sharing it with whoever might be interested. Now onto the main attraction. Alright, this time we're going to be taking our safety car to the Zandvoort track. And this track is the 2023 mod made by Racing Sounds and not the original one, because apparently the Kunos one is outdated. So let's go scout the track. Now throughout this track there is quite a handful of steep elevation changes and banked corners, of which this is the first of the 3. Now these banked corners can be taken at very low gears as second or first gear depending on which car you're driving. There's also this f***ing part of the track which is a steep uphill then downhill. It's quite tricky to master because by then you'd have gathered a lot of speed due to the prior straightaway. If you miss the very tight braking zone, you'll lose your racing line and understeer off. But if you brake early, you'll lose a lot of momentum that'll cost you time. This section took me a lot of experimentation to figure out the best racing line. You'll have to avoid losing much speed on the entry to have a good setup for this upcoming sharp turn. Staying close to the right edge and trying to cut it at a low gear will have you understeering off the track in most cases. In others, you'll oversteer and hit the barrier. Because of the previous section, you'll naturally be pushed towards the far left side of the track. To take this corner properly, you need to take the time to reposition the car to the right first. Otherwise, you'll compromise the entry and make the corner almost impossible to take cleanly. This entry into the second banked corner is fairly tricky because this slight crest in the track partially hides the approach. The section itself is almost chicane-like, feeding directly into a steeply banked corner, where the track limits are almost invisible. With all the important notes jotted down and a vague idea of the track, I set aside the pen and paper to run a reconnaissance lap and try to connect everything together. I had a couple of notes to add at the end about how the racing lines sometimes seem to disappear or were rather too vague to catch, and so this will need a lot of experimenting. The first mistake, which actually ties to the beginning of the video, is choosing this goddamn car for a practice session. Because the GT3 SLS had made my life a living hell during the Imola hot laps. Unbeknownst to me, the GT4 Evo had me questioning my life choices just the same. Starting off the less important mistakes, we have braking too hard. I'm not sure if it's a brake bias thing or not, but for some reason in the Mercedes, braking too hard just makes it straight up oversteer, as seen during this part. Multiply that by 20 laps. There's also this part of the track where I thought I would continue straight ahead, but then ended up braking too hard, causing me to oversteer. Also, multiply that by 10 more laps. Next up, we've got missing the braking zone. Braking too late on this track just means that there is no saving it, because then you'd brake too hard and you'd oversteer anyways. Especially during this part of the track, because then you have so much speed you won't be able to downshift into the correct gear for the entry. For the most part at this point, it was just about the racing lines. Similar to how for this section, it's best not to stay on the right for a good exit, to avoid understeering away. There's also this first turn, where turning in too early will cause you to understeer and lose a lot of speed and time due to the early apex. Sure, this part requires repositioning the car to the right for a good turn-in, but I think I may have gone a little too far here. Last but not least is just this section, man. Oh my god, man, it just had to be a dick. This section alone almost had me crying, even well past the 36th lap, for God's sake. There are definitely a few mistakes I've left out to keep this video short, along with me on the verge of going insane. It was during the 44th lap that I was able to secure a clean lap with a lap time I was satisfied with and more than happy to end this. After that, I didn't do the hot lap. I let that sink in until the next day and instead attended a tablet Tilsit concert that helped me freshen up.
Tomorrow.
Before I leave you all with the hot lap, I just have to say the Porsche is just an absolute spaceship. It's so stable, I was almost convinced it defied the laws of cornering. I still made plenty of mistakes during the hot lap and my racing lines were far from perfect, but I'm actually glad because it just means there's still plenty of room to improve.